Hey, so a couple of you have been asking for me to go over my record collection, and while I don't want to just go over my record collection, I did mention in my Vinyl Sucks video that every record tells a story, and there are a number of records in my collection that are very, very personal to me and that tell a story. And I thought what would be a great, hopefully weekly video series if I called attention to one of these records and briefly shared the story of how this record came into my possession. You know, let's just try and make these fun and off the cuff, so no script, but I thought we'd kick things off with probably the record that is the most valuable to me in terms of just raw emotion, in the sense that this was a record that was given to me by a mentor of mine while I was in college, and that record is the greatest jazz concert ever. And it's a recording that features Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Bud Powell, Charles Mingus, and Max Roach. This is important to me because this was given to me by a dear friend of mine who has since passed. His name is Michael Gottlieb, and I don't expect that name to mean anything to many of you watching this, but I do bet that you know who Michael Gottlieb is. And in the 80s, there was a romantic comedy by the name of Mannequin.
You know, you're the first thing I've created that made me feel like an artist.
Don't you like your new scarf?
He never expected
Not especially.
to hear it talk back.
And Michael Gottlieb was the writer and director of that film. And I met Michael in college because he was one of my professors, and he was teaching writing, specifically screenwriting. And Michael and I got on great. We formed a relationship and a friendship that lasted beyond college. One night we were grabbing drinks, we were hanging out at his house, and he had some music playing. And the record that was playing was this one. And I remember thinking to myself, I had never heard music like this before. Because up until this point, like obviously I knew about jazz, but it wasn't old school jazz, like real jazz. And so we were listening to this album, and I just thought it was the coolest thing I had ever heard. And you know, we got to talking about jazz, and this record, this one right here, is what fueled my now decades-old love affair with jazz. And I remember trying to find this album, just trying to find it. So fast forward a number of years, you know, I've graduated, I'm in the professional world, and I am starting to write. I'm starting to you know, write screenplays and things like that. And out of the blue one day, you know, Michael, he gifted me this record, and you know, he included a very nice, you know, note with it, and you know, he said that, you know, now that I had made it, I had earned some money, you know, I could afford to have good taste in music, and so he gave me this record, and this record has followed me ever since. And I have actually bought and sold much of my record collection over the years. I have sold it all off. You know, I've hit frustration points. You know, I've had systems, big systems, little systems. I've been like, no, physical media is stupid. I'm gonna stream everything, and MP3s are the future. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta have records again. And so I have, you know, bought and sold my system and my collection probably 2 or 3 times over the course of the last 15 years, but there have been a number of records that have always remained in my possession, and this one right here has never not been in my home. I don't own a safe, but if you know, this would be a record that went in the safe. because, like I said, Michael passed away a couple of years ago, and he was such a great friend of mine and a huge influence on me. And he not only was a huge influence on me as a storyteller and a filmmaker and just as a thinker, but he's the one that really ignited my love affair with jazz and with the old school jazz musicians. So if you happen to be in a record store and you come across this particular album, The Greatest Jazz Concert Ever, it is really, really worth picking up. And I can't imagine it being that expensive. I don't know how many pressings, what editions, or what. I just really love this fucking album, you know, and it means the world to me. I just thought that would be this would be a fun video, and this is just one of the records in my collection that I hope to single out and share a little bit of history about. So thank you everyone for watching, and remember, the only person that has to like your system is you. So happy listening, everybody.